Yo, what is up guys, Dream here, and in today's video I wanted to make a short video on Headhunter as there is now plenty of information about it and why it is so damn expensive. So if you guys didn't know, in this patch they rebalanced the drop rates of a number of uniques. They've moved certain drop locations around and Headhunter is now in that category. So Headhunter now can drop from anywhere in the game, just straight up you can drop the belt. But as a result of that, something they didn't tell us is that they were also rebalancing the rarity of a number of different items. Of course, a lot of this stuff will be anecdotal, but I've talked to quite a few people now farming Headhunter in a variety of different ways, and I can tell you that the item is now much rarer, and that is why it is so expensive and why it will continue to be so expensive until the rest of the game. Next league, fully expect it to be just as pricey, if not more so. So Headhunter right now is a fairly, good item, but I wouldn't say that it's mandatory by any means. It is no sort of really big demand for this belt, as there is actually quite a lot of good options and alternatives, such as the Torrent's Reclamation, for mapping right now. There's no need to have a Headhunter, and it's still at such a inflated price. And the reason for this is that they nerfed Headhunter drops across the board. So one of the greatest sources of Headhunter was the Ancient Orb. So if you guys didn't know, you could Ancient Orb belts and basically re-roll the type of unique it is, and you could re-roll that into a Headhunter, and that is one of the main ways that we had access to Headhunter in the past. Now, this has 100% been nerfed. Many people have tried and failed to roll Headhunters. The average before was somewhere around the 400 to 600 Ancient Orb mark. Now it is well and truly much higher than that. People have used thousands and thousands of orbs to test this out. Many different people. The sample size is quite large by now, and it is indeed much rarer from Ancient Orbs, and it is definitely going to be harder to obtain. The other way that people obtain these are through Orbs of Chance. So Chance Orbs, Orb of Chance. And that was basically by using Chance Scour, and this was generally the way you would get what was called a Space Hunter, which was a shaped Headhunter for the purposes of Eternity Shroud builds and such. But that has also been nerfed, and it is much harder to get Headhunter through Chance Orbs as well. So two massive hits to the supply of Headhunter, the main one being Ancient Orbs, as that is really one of the easier ways people were able to get the belt. That is definitely much harder to do now, and it is much rarer to get from that. It's not impossible, but it is much rarer. Alright, let's move on to the next point here. Divination cards, the Doctor, the Demon, the Fiend, all of the cards that drop you a Headhunter, even the Nurse, have been nerfed. Obviously, this is anecdotal information, but lots of people are trying to magic find these divination cards. Some people in, big groups, some people in small groups. In general, the general consensus of the community is that these cards are much rarer. They don't drop as often, and the overall consensus is that they have been nerfed. So the overall supply of Headhunters from pretty much everywhere, every single angle, has been reduced. Now, there is one little point that I want to point out here, and that is the stacked deck prices. So I haven't opened a ton of stacked decks, and I don't even know anyone who has, but I'm interested to know whether they did actually, in fact, nerf the drop chance of the Doctor and all of its cards. The Headhunter cards from the stacked decks, as they are at a very high price, and that would be an interesting question and interesting thing to test. But summing it all up, the unique belt Headhunter is significantly rarer, and I don't think we're going to see it come down in price anytime soon. Really at all. And I think that once we hit a league in the future sometime where it is kind of that mandatory item once again, something like, Delirium or something like Legion, where you really did want to have the belt as it was so insane, you will see it be incredibly expensive, like sky high prices, and I'm definitely not looking forward to those leagues. And overall, the belt is probably about as rare as a Mirror of Calandra now, and lots of people have gone on record to see and look at the actual listings, and there is sometimes more Mirror of Calandras listed than Headhunters, which is completely crazy, and overall it is definitely the main chase item of the game now, but in general, I think for leagues right now, at least without 5 Delirium Orbs, in many cases, Torrent's Reclamation or Self-Chill is actually just a better option. So don't worry too much if you don't have it. I think Torrents is actually pretty damn good, and in most cases is actually going to be better than a Headhunter, unless you're pushing very specific content. So all that said, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this quick info bite on Headhunter. If you liked the video, make sure you like it, and if you want more content from the Grimro, make sure you sub. So let's say, guys, see you guys next one. Cheers.